Every time that Cynthia Erivo talks, the Wicked movie loses money. So their answer to this is to, have her talk more. Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. Now, I'm a monster who believes in second chances. I believe that we all make mistakes, and when somebody realizes they done goofed up, it's important that we as a society make note of their penance. But an inauthentic apology is one of the most obvious and cringeworthy things in the world, and all too often these inauthentic attempts at calming public ire to preserve what remains of a career in the spotlight comes from Hollywood.
Well, how about that?
Isn't it weird how people who pretend for a living are utterly incapable of being convincing when the cameras aren't on them? Take Cynthia Erivo, for instance. Take her far away and never bring her back while you're at it.
That sounds like a Fat Albert joke.
She made waves while promoting her upcoming film adaptation of the Broadway musical Wicked. First, she went on an unhinged tantrum on social media when a fan edited the film's poster to more closely resemble the iconic and very successful poster for the Broadway show. This involved changing Erivo's lipstick color and draping her eyes in shadow to create a mystique around the Wicked Witch of the West. Pretty innocent, right? Well, not to old Cynthia. She went and lost her damn mind, launching into a tirade in which she stated that this was the most offensive thing she'd ever seen. She accused the fan of trying to erase her through these actions, and she then talked about her choice to look down the barrel of the camera while calling the edit degrading.
Shields up.
Oh, and then she put herself over Idina Menzel, Anna Gasteyer, and pretty much everyone else who's ever played the character of Alphaba in Wicked by saying that her Alphaba is unique and special because she's black and queer. Not because she's especially talented or has a passion for the source material, it's because of her race and who she likes to share a bed with.
I don't care.
So, naturally, the entire world has been dunking on her ever since. Plenty of people who were planning on going to see this movie are now no longer gonna go. And this isn't new behavior from Cynthia, which people are starting to find out. She has a sordid history in the live theater world of being a backstage nightmare, especially to stagehands. She's also lost her mind on a Disney fan who fan cast her as a muse in a live-action adaptation of Hercules. A fan casting, by the way, as in, I think you'd be good in this role. Now, when I first did a video on this absolute nightmare of a human being, I had to look up her name every time I had to say it. But now I, like so many others, know the name Cynthia Erivo, and not for good reasons. This clearly scared the executives at Universal who can't afford for this movie to flop, and there was also very clearly an edict set down that she had to make the poster debacle right again. And when she was asked about it in an interview, she attempted to offer something resembling an apology. Only because she's Cynthia Erivo, she came off looking worse than she did on the way in. How bad was it? Let's watch an egomaniac attempt to be humble together today on Tooney Town TV. Cynthia Erivo is back in the news. It seems I can't escape Cynthia Erivo. She is, for those of you that don't know, and man, I honestly envy those of you that don't know. She is the woman who is playing the role of Alphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West in Wicked. And she's out of her damn mind. So somebody, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, somebody had altered the poster to make it look more like the Broadway poster. They added some shadow over her eyes, turned her lips from green to red, and she went absolutely insane. She went completely out of her mind, screaming at these fans and saying it was the most offensive thing she'd ever seen, saying that she was it was erasing her in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. And then she also said that she was a different and almost better kind of Alphaba than Idina Menzel or anyone that's ever come before her, because she was black and queer, essentially. So, her skin color and who she decides to sleep with makes her better than, one of the greatest Broadway performers of all time. She got a very healthy opinion of herself. However, it seems that somebody at Universal was like, hey, you need to make this right because people are talking about it, not in a good way, and our movie is becoming about you freaking out about a poster. So she tried to apologize, and it didn't go very well, guys. So here we have this article from IndieWire. Cynthia Erivo amends comments about fan-edited Wicked poster. I just wanted to protect the character. Good Lord. Okay, we're going to get into every problem with that statement very soon. But Cynthia Erivo is defying gravity when it comes to keeping the debate over the Wicked fan edit posters afloat. The actress told Entertainment Tonight that she, quote, probably should have called my friends instead of taking to social media to slam the unauthorized image. The fan-edited poster hid Alphaba's eyes under her witch hat in a nod to the famous ad from the original Broadway production. The faux poster was an alteration of the official Universal Pictures marketing materials in which Alphaba's full face is on display as Glinda whispers in her ear. Quote, I probably should have called my friends, but it's fine, Erivo said of airing her frustrations. I'm really protective of the role. I'm passionate about it, and I know the fans are passionate about it, and I think for me, it was just like a human moment of wanting to protect little Alphaba, and it was like a human moment. Guys, we're going to go through what she said. We're going to review that again. I don't think in any way, shape, or form at any point in her meltdown she ever mentioned little Alphaba.
It has nothing to do with Alphaba. She kept talking about herself.
Nothing to do with Alphaba.
Nothing. In fact, if it did, she would like the homage to the Broadway poster.
Of course, that's what made Alphaba the cat. That is what defined Alphaba the character.
This is such a dumb thing that should not be. This should not be a thing that's going on. It's that ridiculous.
Earlier this month, Erivo said in a that the fan-made image was deeply hurtful to her and also the wildest, most offensive thing ever. I will remind you that we can see the planes hitting the towers in September of 2001 on the internet. There have been more offensive things that we have seen than somebody putting shadow on this woman's eyes. There are executions that you could see on the internet, which is just absolutely horrible. John F. Kennedy's death was televised, and this was the wildest, most offensive thing ever. So she says the original poster is an illustration. I'll do my brain. The original poster is an illustration. I am a real life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer. Because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and that is just deeply hurtful. She continued, this is the wildest, most offensive thing I've ever seen, equal to the awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the question, is your female member green? None of this is funny. None of it is cute. It degrades me. It degrades us. I think I finally figured out, Trish, who she means when she says us. I think she thinks she is speaking for all Black queer women on the planet.
In which case, I would argue she keeps bringing that up, but this is the worst thing she's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying one thing about yourself over here, and then another thing over here. And it's like, if you're telling me about your struggles as a Black queer woman, how is this poster the worst thing you've ever experienced?
Exactly. Clearly, you've not experienced much hate and racism in your life.
Hey, I'm not the one making that, Yeah. And
yeah, if that's the case, I'm happy for her.
She talks like, oh, being Black and being queer. So the implication at the very least is she's gone through stuff because of it. So it's
but
I'm not the one with that disparity. That's her putting that out there.
But at the end of the day, guys, she has a history of apparently melting down at people. I've seen reports about her going off on stagehands on Broadway shows. She apparently melted down at a fan of hers who fan cast her in like their dream cast for a Hercules live action as one of the muses.
Does she not understand what a compliment is?
No, she doesn't.
Because these things are compliments, and she's getting so offended by them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I wanted to point something out now, guys. She says all of this was about Alphaba. All of this was about protecting the character. I would like to examine these two statements: the freak out and the quote unquote apology. That is not an apology. It's. If you think it's an apology, I need to point out, never were the words, I'm sorry, or I was wrong, or any admission of guilt or fault, offered to anybody. So it's not an apology. So she said, I probably should have called my friends, but it's fine. I'm really protective of the role. I'm passionate about it. And I know the fans are passionate about it. And I think for me, it was just like a human moment of wanting to protect little Alphaba. And it was like a human moment. So then let's examine the original statement. The original poster is an illustration. I am a real life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face, not Alphaba's face, is to hide my eyes, not Alphaba's eyes, is to erase me, not to erase Alphaba. And that is just deeply hurtful. This is the wildest, most offensive thing I have seen, equal to the awful AI of us fighting. And the question, none of this is funny, none of it is cute. It degrades me, not that it degrades Alphaba, and it degrades us, meaning black queer women, and again, not Alphaba, because I will remind you, Alphaba is a straight green woman. So
I'd argue that her use of I and me in the apology that you read at the start makes more sense, because now we are talking about her. Now she does need to talk about herself, but it's the original statement that doesn't mention Alphaba. She actually mentions Alphaba in the apology more than she mentions her in the initial statement.
She never mentioned Alphaba in the initial statement. It was not a defense of Alphaba. She was not defending the character that she loves against a bunch of people. The person that made it was doing an homage to Alphaba because they love the Broadway show. And right now, guys, until that movie hits theaters, the only Alphaba that exists is the one on the Broadway stage. She is giving Rachel Zegler a real run for her money in terms of just absolute mind-blowing, just crazed reactions to things and attention seeking. But here's the thing. She's 37 years old. Rachel Zegler is 23.
Wow.
She's you like can in assume, a Sumaloo boat.
Yeah, you can assume that Rachel Zegler might one day be like we can look back at things we did when we were 23 and be like, man, that was cringy. This woman is 37 years old. By 37, you are pretty much the person that you're going to be. And I think I understand where it comes from. She came up in Broadway in live theater, and in live theater, these diva antics are not as exposed to a wide audience the way it is in Hollywood. There's not as many big interviews. There's not as many, there's not as much of a spotlight being shown on you. And I think what's happening is she never had the public smackdown that Rachel Zegler has experienced to kind of be like, whoa, maybe I shouldn't say things like this. She has just been allowed to be a diva and to do whatever she wants for her entire career. And we are seeing a poisonous, spoiled, petulant brat. Martin Stone, your thoughts?
I think that some people believe they're entitled to be thought of exactly the way they believe they're presenting themselves to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Other people's opinions on them, if they run afoul of that, are illegitimate or mean or attacks, that sort of thing. So when she says, this is how I want to present myself, how dare you do anything else? Well, I got a right to think of you how I want to think of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing is you're in the public eye. You're a celebrity. Like at this point, like this is what you signed up for.
And I got to wonder, that first reaction, she talks about how she chose to look right down the barrel of the camera. Was that the only picture you took that day? Because I'm betting there were hundreds that were taken that day.
Absolutely. Every single one is just the exact same thing. But you know what? The thing is, in the original poster, she's smirking in the original poster. Like, Alphaba is smirking, not Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Erivo just gives a stone-faced, she looks
startled.
Yeah, and a completely emotionless look. And what you see in the poster also is just really not Alphaba. In the beginning of that show, Alphaba is this quiet little bookworm. Her sister is given all the attention, and she is basically even only at college to be her sister's caretaker because her sister Nessa Rose is in a wheelchair. And so she's supposed to be very plain Jane, very bookish. But now they have her in micro braids. They have her with these long, intricate nails. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine when you're the Wicked Witch of the West. But in the beginning of this show, like, what are we trying to portray here? And also, how is a 37-year-old woman who looks like a 37-year-old woman playing a college student meant to be 18, 19 years old.
I don't know. I saw a bunch of people on the CW with like giant, broad linebacker shoulders playing high school kids.
That's
So,
also
I mean,
true, yeah.
Those of us who remember Beverly Hills 90210, where
Yeah.
Andrea Zuckerman was played by a 26-year-old when she was supposed to be
I-
like 15.
I remember when this was all orange grove as far as the eye can see. Lord Connor, you've been quiet during this discussion. What are your opinions on such spoiled, petulant meltdowns made in public? And your opinion on, do you think she was trying to apologize here, or she was trying to distance herself? What do you think is going on there?
No, I think they're doing this standard PR thing, but the dumbest part about this argument is that, again, you're trying to protect the character of Alphaba. Well, the poster predates your portrayal. That means that is the definitive Alphaba. That predates you, therefore you're supposed to be imitating that. If you're not doing that, you're the one damaging the image of the character. That's the nonsense of this argument. Now, I don't have a horse in this race because I've never seen Wicked. I've never read the book. I don't know anything about it, so I don't care. But the attitude and the response, the apology, it's typical of what we're seeing out of celebrities in the elite these days. They never truly apologize. They never feel like they have to. They're only pressured into doing it because it starts to impact what kind of money they can draw.
Well, there you have it, guys. She, kind of apologized? You might have missed it. It lacked the words, "I'm sorry, I was wrong," or any kind of admission of fault. It had all the sincerity of a get-well card from a funeral home. Cynthia Erivo isn't capable of a heartfelt apology because it's clear that she thinks she did nothing wrong. She's clearly still livid over the poster debacle, and someone at Universal told her to soldier up, stop being a diva, and to fix this. Only she hasn't fixed it. Every time she talks, she makes things worse.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
But that being said, I still don't think this movie's gonna bomb. I think it still has the keys to success, and there's a lot of Ariana Grande fans out there who are chomping at the bit to see her play Glinda.
Everybody hands go up, and they stay there, and they stay there.
But what a lot of people don't realize, because it's being purposely hidden from any and all advertising, is that this is only Wicked Part 1. It's just the first act of the musical. They took the play and they split it into 2 whole movies. That also means they had to add a lot of stuff, and the stuff they're gonna add is probably gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
You can't keep getting away with this!
The trick isn't getting people into theaters for this movie. It's getting them to come back for the unnecessary sequel. And with Cynthia Erivo's antics, it's possible that you have a sequel that doesn't exceed the box office of the original. And that's never good. I don't know what it is about fame and fortune that make people just become vapid, bubble-headed, mean-spirited demons, but I guess it's something in the water. It costs you nothing to be kind to people, to turn the other cheek and be the better person. Why can't Hollywood actors just be normal people? Why can't they see that what they do isn't some gift to the world? The more you throw your diva fits and show the world your true ugliness within, the more you open yourself up to being ostracized, ignored, and mocked on the internet by an orange monster. Thanks for joining us today, and a special thanks goes out to our Tooney TV channel members. You guys are helping to keep the lights on around here every day, and for that we thank you with special exclusive content like a special live stream every Friday at 2 p.m., our true crime podcast, Crime and Punishment, Kevin Apollo's rants, and more coming at you guys very soon. So if you're not a Tooney TV channel member, join today. And I hope you'll also join us for our live stream pop culture podcast, Tooney Talk TV, every single Thursday night at 8 p.m. It is a live stream pop culture discussion that you get to interact with me directly and make your voice heard as a part of the Tooneytown community. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop from all of us here at the Tooneytown channels. I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!